All right, this is Tim Johnson. You're listening to the BB podcast.
You're welcome, Internet. This is Viet, and we're back with another edition of Face the Facts, a series where we interview professional athletes and ask them the tough questions donks like Luke Thomas are too busy teeing up softballs to fighters on the MMA Hour to ask. Here at Face the Facts, we appreciate the art of martial arts. Like, check this out. This is traditional Taekwondo. A beautiful martial arts designed. Holy Jean-Claude Van Damme! What are you training for? You're gonna straight up murder a giant? But like I guess a paper thin giant. Like Sean Bradley? I would cancel your plans to visit South Korea. Like, not a good idea, bruh. Look at that speed. The crazy fast speed. That's Floyd Mayweather speed. That's synchronicity, though. I realize now that word doesn't quite mean what I think it does, but it would be an amazing coincidence if these guys just showed up to a soiree you happen to be hosting, because those are some mean party tricks. Like, these dudes would go ham at a quinceañera. Like, piñatas would be decimated. Cavities and belly aches for all the niños and niñas. Also, how annoying would these guys be at a marathon? Just straight up kicking the shit out of your signs, people trying to hand out water cups, getting their hand completely kicked off. Like, you were a nice guy, just wanted to show up to a marathon, support your friend, and now you're like the dude with no freaking hands. It's a real handicap. And for all you DIY fiends out there, check yourself before you wreck yourself, because paper mache? Not today. These bros have our respect. And that's a high standard, because this is Face the Facts, where we promote true investigative podcasting. We ask the hard-hitting questions. We know our tenaciousness might scare off some people, which is why we respect anyone that comes onto our show to face us. This brings us to this episode's guest, Bellator heavyweight Tim Johnson. We talk about the shady town of Fargo, the balance between winning a fight and putting on a show, and American-themed apparel. Hey, what's up, Tim?
Hey, nothing much. Just driving back to Fargo.
Okay. All right. You ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. We're joined today by Bellator heavyweight Tim Johnson. How are you doing, Tim?
Doing pretty good.
All right, man. You're always known for your facial hair. It's your mustache has some friends there, though. It's usually just the mustache, right?
Well, I try switching up every now and then. I had a full beard going, so I just trimmed this down, and I was like, oh, let's go with a goatee for a little bit, see how that looks.
All right, well, yeah, man, your facial hair game's out of control, man. I feel like it's alive. It's got its own.
You got your normal mustache. I got my handlebars. I did a full Manchu once, and now I just kind of got the goatee going right now.
Yeah, I could just feel an aura of power emanating from your. You need to get yourself a sponsorship, like some kind of like beard wax or something like that.
Well, I know. I'm looking at it now, and I'm getting some grays. I'm like, God, it's just for men. Are they looking for sponsorships? You know?
There you go. Hey, hook them up, man. Hook them up. You got a lot more. We'll be talking about in a little bit more leeway in terms of the sponsorships you can pursue now under the Bellator banner than you were under the UFC banner, I'm sure. Let's talk about your childhood a little bit. You grew up in let's see here. You're from Lamberton, Minnesota. It's our
Lamberton.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right.
If let's see, if Conor McGregor were to say something about this town, he would say, "Where the fuck is that?" I was like reading up on it, like population of like about 800. It's pretty small.
Yep. No, but and I grew up on a hog farm outside of it.
Okay, well, a hog farm. What was that like?
Oh, it was great. Do chores in the morning and chores in the afternoon. We did a farrow to finish, so we bred them, we grew them, then we sold them.
Wow. Okay. And you were. I also want to talk about this a bit. You're a combat veteran.
Yes. Yep. Did 10 years in the Minnesota National Guard. Was overseas in Iraq and Kuwait for a year. Did that for quite a while.
So help me clarify the timeline a little bit. it looks like you were deployed in Iraq, but you also pursued MMA. It's about the same time. So which came first, and like what was the military pursuit about? What was the your MMA pursuit? When did that start happening?
Let me see. I had 2 fights before I deployed. I had 1 fight, and then I took a little break, and then we were getting up for deployment. So we were training. We got our Warno orders and all that. And I wanted to get 1 fight in before we deployed. I had to get permission from my command to do the fight. So, cause they didn't want me getting injured, cause it, just screws their roster up and all that type of stuff. But for that one, I ended up losing actually, but I had a lot of friends, a lot of support. I think, my first sergeant even, came over and watched it. Like I had a lot of people there supporting that one. So, right before we deployed, I had my second fight and then came back and just started kind of racking out a bunch of more.
Now, as a fighter, is that like tougher when you're around like a large support? I know like it's nice to have like a large like supporting section, but like do you feel a little bit more pressure? Like, oh man, all these guys came here to see me win. I have to go out there and like get the W. Is there a little extra pressure from that?
Maybe in the early days, yeah. Like you don't want to feel like you're wasting anybody's time, I guess would be the way to look at it. But no, after a while that kind of wears off. The only one that annoys me is my old man. He did the same thing for wrestling. He doesn't like coming to watch me because he thinks he's bad luck.
Oh, you're like, come on, man, just come watch. It's fine.
Exactly. I'm like, you being there does not change the outcome of what's going to happen. Just get there.
Right. Did he is that proven? Has he somehow gotten in his head? Did he come to one of your matches and you lost?
He came to my fight against Jared Rosalt in Nashville. And since then, it's yeah. Since then, he thinks that. Back in high school wrestling, I think he got a little bit. There were some matches that I should have won that I didn't. I think, but pretty much just that one fight.
Well, you need to get him. He needs to come out for that Cheick fight. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. It's nice. It's a good fight. So you're grappling background, 2-time All-American wrestler. You started competing in North Dakota. You currently live in Fargo.
Yep, right? Currently living in Fargo.
And yeah, that's right. You said you're about to head back. There's a famous movie, a television show by the Coen brothers about your lovely city. I don't know if you've had a chance to check that out.
I haven't seen the show yet. I just did another interview earlier in the week, and they brought up the movie, and I was like, what's funny about the movie is they're only in Fargo for 2 minutes of the movie, and the rest of the movie takes place in Minnesota.
Right. I think it's kind of the same for the television series. It's not always in Fargo, but I just, for the rest of us that don't know anything about this town, we're afraid to go there. I mean, do you often see these friendly citizens of Fargo frequently getting caught up in major gang and cartel related turf wars because they just stumble upon a large pile of cash in the snow or something? It seems like at least from the show, seems like a very dangerous city. But I think that's supposed to be funny because everyone there is supposed to be really friendly and unassuming. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of like that irony thing, like calling Little John, little, but he's really huge.
Yeah. So let's see here. And you also work part-time as a bouncer, correct?
Yep, yeah. That I do. I work bounce at a bar, and this summer I started 2 months ago, I started driving truck again, so I'm kind of 2-timing it.
Okay. I love the fact that you're a bouncer because I think bouncers have a reputation just like a meathead. You're just a big guy, and it's you wouldn't want to mess with be careful who you mess with. One of them might actually be a professional mixed martial artist, so it's just a warning for. But I guess most of the time, if you're messing with a bouncer, you're probably drunk, so you don't really have. Yeah,
there's a lot of people get that tough man mentality in them when they get a couple drinks, but. More so than not, it's pretty harmless job.
Yeah. Any notable scuffles or anything like that? Has anyone ever taken a swing at you?
Oh yeah, we've had plenty of people taking swings at us. We've had knives pulled and that type of stuff, but generally it's pretty calm. But those, I've been working there for 4 years, so I've seen quite a bit of stuff.
Man, knife pulled. That's It's not that serious, guy.
Yeah, no,
That's
exactly.
that's like a felony.
And yeah, yeah, but it's that's definitely not the common thing to happen, not the common trend. But I will say it comes in bunches. Like we'll have like 6-7 weeks where we won't have any altercations, and one night, and it will be like a Wednesday night where it's just dead, and you'll have to kick out like 6 people, and they'll all want to get physical.
Oh man, are they like in packs? I feel like sometimes these guys like they have like the strength in numbers mentality. They're like, yeah, we're tough together. Let's go, let's go kick some ass.
No, I'd say that's 50-50. Usually they're by themselves or just have one other friend, but then the other half the time, in any group of people that come into a bar, every group's got that one guy. Like, doesn't matter, it's just that one guy who's a jerk or for some whatever reason. And, the friends are like, yeah, we know he's a jerk, but he's still our friend. So we kind of got to back him up. But overall, though, it's pretty much down the line.
So from checking out your social media and stuff, you are a fan of wearing patriotic wear, where you got patriotic shirts, patriotic shorts. Have you ever heard of brands like Chubbies or Rowdy Gentleman?
Yeah, Chubbies I have. Yep.
Yeah, those are. I was about to say, like, if you haven't, I would say you definitely want to. That stuff is like right up your alley. And it might also sound like I'm trying to like plug a sponsor. I am not. I would like to get a sponsorship from them is what I'm trying to work on. But yeah, they
always come across my Facebook on a sponsored advertisement. So I'm well aware of what they do. I always like looking at all the different shorts I got.
Another one. We have to get you the beard wax sponsorship. We also need to get you a sponsorship with Chubbies.
Yeah, which works with my body style just perfect too.
All right, so let's see here. You are so the internet is notoriously wrong, and I've interviewed many fighters. I tell them I quote them their record, and they tell me I'm wrong. From my research, you are 12-4. Is that correct?
Yep, I believe so. I think that 12. Yep, that's right.
Losing track. Dangerous sport.
Yeah.
You had so your last 7 fights were under the UFC banner. Can you tell us a little bit of what that experience was like the last 3 or 4 years fighting for the UFC? What were some of your highlight moments?
Just traveling around the world, getting to see. Let me see. I went to 4 different countries on the UFC's dime. So basically like a free trip to see the world. Can't complain about that. And just the people I got to meet behind the scenes. I'm still friends, still communicate with a lot of them. So that was kind of nice to, just from that standpoint.
Are there any fighters that you would say are different behind the scenes than they are, like when we see them doing promotions, or do you find that most of them are kind of about face value?
I think most of them are about face value, except, I didn't really interact with too many fighters that often. I was kind of almost black sheep by other fighters. I don't know, for some reason. I kept to myself. So I didn't get to meet and really get to know too many of them beyond what I saw on TV, just like fans. But from what I've seen, like all my opponents have been like super nice, super friendly, super respectful. So, and I'd rather fight guys like that than total D-bags. Just because I'm like, it's a sport, man. It's not the personal. Let's go out there and fight and have fun.
Yeah, it seems like that some fighters are they're getting smart to the whole, trying to make it personal, trying to like build up. Like, I have no idea what Colby Covington is like in real life, but that guy has done a good job of selling himself as just like, I am the asshole. and people want to watch him. Like they want to watch him get beat. But like they still want to watch him. They'll still pay to watch his fight. So it's kind of.
Yep. you hit the nail on the head there. That's definitely what we call. I guess we can call it Conor McGregor style. He kind of really encompassed it. Now everyone's trying to be that way. I can't be that way. It'd be fake. Everyone would see it. I'd get laughed at.
Maybe you should just like ham it up anyways. I like to bring up the current UFC heavyweight champion, who's DC. When he shocked the MMA world, he beat Stipe Miocic. I don't think a lot of people thought that he would win that fight. He comes across as like one of the good guys of the sport, but seems to like a lot of fans hate him. And then he kind of has like this phony sort of WWE. So you talk about like, you got a guy like Kobe Covington who just seems like straight up, I'm an asshole. And then you have like a guy like DC who, you're a nice guy, but you're trying to come across like an asshole. I almost feel like fans hate that more.
Yeah, the kind of flip-flopping. DC, when he's commentating or, he's an analyst is different than the other DC.
Right.
So I think it just, people don't know what to expect from him. So maybe that would irritates them because they see him in a couple different platforms and they see different parts of him in those platforms. So that'd be my guess. Like, if I would have to say that you're expecting one thing and then he's flip-flopping. So people don't like flip-floppers.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on DC? What is his legacy to you? Like how, I mean, it's kind of weird because he just got the heavyweight champ belt. So it's I don't know if you can really compare him to other heavyweights because he just hasn't had the tenure there, but he does have a few fights at heavyweight under some notable opponents. And then he's had a great career at light heavyweight. The only, black mark on his career being the 2 John Jones losses. What do you think his legacy is when he leaves?
He's going to be known as one of the best fighters that the UFC's had. That's without a doubt. And yeah, at heavyweight, I think he had, he's still undefeated at heavyweight. I think he's got double-digit wins at that division and no losses. And yeah, I was probably one of you. I gave DC about a 40% chance to win because I knew Stipe, even though he's been, he's won consistently, he has been known to get rocked in pretty much every one of his fights. And he's been dropped a couple times and came back. And, what's kind of funny is DC actually weighed more than him when they weighed in. Yeah. So it wasn't really a big size difference, from DC coming up from light heavyweight.
Right. Yeah. DC's always been a guy that he's been he's a big boy. He had to cut down a lot to get down to 205.
Yeah.
Would you like to see him, if he had to fight John Jones again, would you like to see that at heavyweight?
I think everybody probably would. And John Jones has, toyed with it and teased that he was going to go to heavyweight for, last couple of years. So I wouldn't see why not. And then the lightweight division's got plenty of stars left in it. Why not, throw some more juice in the heavyweight?
Yeah. And if you just had to call it real quick, if John Jones moved up to heavyweight, who would you have winning that fight, him or DC?
Ooh, I'd probably still have to say John would.
Yeah.
Because he walks. I mean, I think he walks around at like 235, 240 before he cuts.
He's a big guy.
Thick. Yeah, he's thick when he's up there.
Yeah, and you could just tell his length gives DC trouble. I mean, it gives every fighter trouble. He's just a massive guy, massive reach. Yeah.
It's just kind of a goofy, design that you're not going to see only just from him.
Right. Almost built like a basketball player, almost.
Yeah.
Like tall, long, skinny. What did DC say? Get your shit together, John Jones. He keeps on he keeps on beating himself outside the octagon. Yeah, undefeated inside the octagon, but keeps screwing up. So maybe he'll stop taking tainted supplements or whatever. I know fans will be on both sides. Like, if you're a John Jones fan, that he's clean and this was just a mistake. If you're not a John Jones fan, he's clearly been taking steroids his entire life. I feel like we don't have the facts to say either way. So, but he is paying, for what he did. He is being punished. So when he comes back, I think we just have to. I guess we just have to put the onus on the UFC or whatever promotion he fights under, and then USADA to do their job. And that's really all you can kind of hope for. I guess that, as a fighter, that's all you guys hope for is like, please do your job. Especially you're a clean fighter, you're like, don't let the other guy get away with stuff.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Like when I was still on the testing pool, I think I was one of the top guys that was tested. I think I got tested like once a month, or sometimes I got tested like twice in 3 weeks, and I was like, I feel like you're testing me because you know I'm not going to piss hot.
I think it's because of your irregular beard growth. It's like, see, our fans don't know, but you actually just shaved this morning. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, UFC tenure over. You signed with Bellator. I think it was back in April.
Yep, it's been right around there.
Okay, and that's so is this like a four fight contract or?
Yep, four fights or 18 months.
Okay, so give us a little bit of the lowdown. What's the difference been like? I know you're not probably on the phone constantly with the promoters or people from Bellator, but have you noticed a difference in terms of communicating with this promotion versus how it was with the UFC?
Not so much. It's still kind of the same. You got your points of contact. Once they, they'll send you what they need from you, and and you send it back to them. Kind of the same, same runaround that you get.
And there's been a lot of fighters like yourself, UFC alums. They moved over, and one of the things they talk about is the opportunity to brand yourself better into Bellator. Can you expand? Like, what is that? I guess as fans, we see like some of the superficial things, like the mandatory Reebok kit, which I think you're wearing a Reebok shirt. You know what?
Yep, that I am.
So you have what is it for Bellator? You just have more sponsorship deals available to you.
Yeah, you can actually use your sponsorships. For the big thing with the UFC is, you can have your sponsors, but you can't advertise them on fight week. Well, that's the only time that guys like me are going to get any time or any exposure to really allow for sponsorships to get their viewership. Bellator is basically whatever you can get is all yours, and you can advertise it, you can walk out with it, you can take it to interviews, you can do whatever you want with it.
That's I remember that used to be the case in the UFC, and I felt like it really, when they changed it over, and I on one hand I do understand why they did it, to try to make it seem like a league, like other other professional sports. They wear a uniform, and so I get that, but also it took away a lot of the individuality of the fighters. Like, some of it was like their branding. They had these unique brandings for their fighters, and I know they're trying to do some of that with the kits, but it's just not the same. And you had the most random sponsors. I remember Dynamic Faster seemed to rule the world for the UFC for a while. No one was like, what do they do? What do they sell? But like, it was like a bunch of fighters had the stuff, and you had all the different fight gear companies that would like sponsor different fighters. So as fight fans, it's kind of like it's cool to see that in Bellator. So let's see, your last fight in the UFC, you coming off a decision victory over Marcelo Golm. You are set to fight Cheick Kongo at Bellator 208 on October 13th. Now, this is like kind of like a weekend of fights for Bellator, because I think on the 12th there's Bellator 207. So back-to-back events. It's Friday and Saturday. A lot of UFC alums on this card. You got Chael Sonnen, Matt Mitrione, Ryan Bader, Roy Nelson, Benson Henderson, and you included. We're seeing a lot of fighters have a lot of success in Bellator, the ones that move from the UFC, guys like Mousasi, Rory McDonald. How does it feel to join this club, the UFC crossover guys? And is there a chip on your shoulder, or is it simply just this is a business decision, no ill will towards the UFC? Or do you feel like, look, man, you could have had me. I'm a talented fighter. You let me go. Now I'm going to kill it in this promotion.
A little of both. I'm not too big on grudges, but it is a business. You can't take everything personal, because it both, even Bellator is in business, and UFC is a business. They got whatever they think's best for their business, they're going to do. On the other hand, I'm happy to be fighting a name like Cheick Kongo. After every one of my UFC wins, I wanted to fight top guys that were above me, that were around the 10, and I'd throw out names, and I'd never get anything back, and they just always come back with, well, you got this debut, you have to fight. That's the only one available, and they never give me an opportunity to fight someone above them. And personally, I feel it's because they're afraid that someone like me would beat a top 10 guy, and then they'd have to have me up there.
Yeah, and What would they? I don't understand why they wouldn't want you. Seems highly marketable. This humble guy, great facial hair. So, what is your mindset going into your Bellator debut? Is it kind of a win at all costs? You just want to make sure you get the W started off, on the right foot, or do you want to go out there and show out for the fans? Just hyper aggressive, go for the finish.
Probably the first one. Win at all costs and take a fight wherever the fight goes. A win against Cheick puts me right up there in the top right away, and I don't want to screw up that opportunity. So don't go out there totally free range, but at the same time, you're not going to beat someone like Cheick by staying very conservative.
Right. I feel like it's an odd standard that we put on fighters, and in other sports, winners win, and you pay to see winners. That in other sports, in football, and it doesn't matter if like a team goes undefeated but is like a low scoring defensive, like grinded out, like run the football kind of team. You're just like, that's a really good football team, you want to watch them. But with fighters, it's weird where like as fans we actually sometimes prefer watching guys that may not have the best records, but go out there and they're just willing to brawl out of control, take excessive damage, and just put on a show for fans. As a fighter, how do you balance that? The knowing that your paycheck, your livelihood, and your marketability in part comes from your ability to go out there and put on a show for the fans, but also your career longevity, and then just being able to move up the pecking order demands that you get the W.
Just like anything, I don't think there's any fighter that wants to go out there and not put on a show. Like, I think that's maybe a misconception a lot of people have. Oh, just come out here and they're just going to lay against the fence. Well, and then there's a lot of fans that don't know exactly how hard that is to hold someone against a fence and exactly what's going on in between there. That's a battle within the battle. And it's just, you got to remember that if they were in your shoes, they'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah. I watched this the GSP interview on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was very critical of your fan friendly fighters like your Donald Cerrone's. He says that he likes these guys in general and he respects them, but he thinks that they're great for the promotion, but it's not great for fighters. And he says, and he called them pawns, and he says that it makes it, because they are willing to fight anyone, anytime, anywhere, the UFC, they can easily market these guys, and they know they can kind of put them into any fight to sell a card they need to. And what it does is it makes it harder for lesser known fighters to gain negotiating leverage. He says that basically you have to become a star to tell the UFC, or even like a big promotion like Bellator, no, I don't want to do that fight, or this fight interests me, and really have any say at the table. And I guess that kind of comes with all sports stars get special treatment. But do you think there's any truth to that? Like maybe fighters should be a little bit more, I guess, selective with how they pursue their career, or do you think it's good for the sport that fighters are kind of willing to have that mindset, anyone, anywhere, anytime?
To a point, you got to start off being a yes man. You don't want to be known. Like, I was a yes man all the way through. I never second guessed anything. I went, yeah, I'll fight. Even in a fight that I shouldn't have taken, I was super injured when I fought Junior Albini last summer. Mm-hmm. I definitely should have said no, because I just wasn't going to be that guy that said no to fights. Yeah. But looking back, I should have been, after the first handful of fights, I should have been a little more selective with who I should have been scared to say, no, I want someone else. Not because you're scared, it's just because you work hard, you get up there, and you deserve something better. So never cut your value short, basically.
And I think that's probably a good lesson for a lot of the young fighters kind of getting into sport. And I think it's tough because from the eye test, it looks like the promotion rewards risk takers over the safe fighters at the expense often of fighters' health. Like they're, like you were injured, but they're willing to to put you in there against a dangerous opponent like Albini. I think a great example of this is Justin Gaethje. He actually fights this weekend against Vic. The guy's a dynamo of violence, swings wildly, undeterred by counter shots until they drop him. You know, he has one win, spectacular win. He also has 2 spectacular losses where he just got demolished. He's young, yet he probably has like a few fights left. I would say at the rate he's going, 3 or 4 fights left. And that guy's probably done. So you probably do have to balance it out as a fighter, not just for like the sake of I guess like your financial career, but just like your livelihood, like like being able to leave the sport. Yeah, your ability to leave the sport, with your wits intact.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about your opponent, Kongo. This guy is, it's a beast. He's one of the longtime legends of the sport. He's been fighting for, it seems like, forever, and he's still winning. It's like currently on a 6-fight win streak, high-level striker, incredible career. Why don't you kind of put on your coach's cap a little bit and kind of break down Kongo's game? And I know we're not going to give away anything about your game plan or anything like that on the show, but just sort of things that you find interesting about his skill set and what you anticipate on fight night.
Cheick's, he's a world-class kickboxer. He always has been. He's got great striking. He's kind of like me in the aspect that he's a slow starter, which I think you can get possummed in there a little bit, where you might win round 1 off him just because he's not putting out a lot of output. But then as the fight goes on, he actually gets stronger. So that's something that you always got to be weary of with him. And great takedown defense. So, you get a takedown on him, it's got to be earned. And that's that type of stuff. So I think the big thing for fighting him is you got to get on him early.
All right. Okay. We are going to get to the point in the interview where we face the facts. I'm going to ask you some not so rapid fire questions, but a bunch of random questions now, just to kind of get a feel for your character. You have an awesome name, but if you could change your name, what would your new name be?
Oh man. Probably Gunner.
Gunner. Okay. I like it. Gunner Johnson.
Yeah.
All right. Do you consider yourself more of a hunter or a gatherer?
Hunter.
Okay. What celebrity would you rate a perfect 10?
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson's awesome. Okay. Let's say you finish your fight with Kongo, and in the back you got West Coast Shavings. They're about to cut you a check. Be their new spokesperson for their awesome new beard salve. How big of a check does that need to be for you to hang up your gloves for good?
Oh, 8 digits, 8 figures.
Okay, all right. West Coast, if you're listening to this, my man here needs at least 8 digits. All right. You're in the car right now. Do you sing when you're driving?
Oh, I definitely sing when I drive.
Awesome. And what are you listening to right now?
90s country.
Okay, nice. If you could be any animal, what animal would you be and why?
Ooh. Question. Back in range here in a second.
Okay. No worries. Let's see here. Can you hear me just fine?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, we'll continue then. Let's see here. I was asking you what animal you would want to be.
I'd be a wolf, and I'd probably be a lone wolf, so I can just wander around and mess with stuff.
All right. If we could get rid of one state from the United States, which one should it be?
Wisconsin.
Why?
Because the Green Bay Packers are from there.
Not a Green Bay Packers fan. All right. Fair enough. How far back do you think we have to go before it's considered archaeology and not just grave robbing?
300 years.
That's a good standard. Who would win in the fight between Spider-Man and Batman?
Between Spider-Man and who?
And Batman.
Let's see. I don't really like either of them.
Okay.
Probably Spider-Man.
All right. Why? Why do you think so?
Because he actually has superhuman powers, and Batman's just a rich guy who buys toys.
All right. Do you find that the only way you can go to sleep is to pretend to go to sleep?
Nope, not for me. I get a story going in my head, and then it just brings you right into like a dream sequence.
Okay, interesting. All right. If you have an atheist testify before the court, what do you think they should swear on?
Man. I don't know, a box of McNuggets?
A box of McNuggets. All right. Who's your favorite fighter of all time?
Of all time? Oh. Well, I was really keen on Rich Franklin.
Okay.
Liked watching him fight a lot. But probably be the Iceman, Chuck Liddell.
Oh yeah, the Iceman. He's badass. What is the best insult you've ever heard in your professional career from your opponent?
I don't think I've really been insulted too much by my opponents. I guess Volkov called me slow and clumsy. I guess that'd be about it.
Slow and clumsy. All right. What is the difference between ketchup and fancy ketchup?
Ketchup is just normal ketchup. Fancy ketchup has mayonnaise mixed with it.
Wait, really?
To me, it is. We call it fancy sauce, ketchup and mayonnaise, and you mix it together.
Okay, interesting. I don't know about that one. Let's see here. Besides MMA, what sports do you enjoy watching?
Football, and then wrestling. In person at my old school, in person, but definitely football.
Okay. And if you said that you had a life motto, what would your life motto be?
Luck favors the prepared.
Luck favors the prepared. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. I want to let you kind of give a shout out to all of your different for where the fans can find you. What's your social media? What's your Twitter? What's your Instagram? Where can the fans find you?
Fans can find me at TBearTim. That's going to be on Instagram and Twitter. And then on Facebook, it's just my athlete page, Timothy Johnson.
Awesome. All right, guys. You should check that out. And you definitely want to check out Tim this October 13th as he takes on Cheick Kongo. Should be an awesome fight. It will be Tim's Bellator debut. We wish you all the best, my friend.
All right, thank you.